Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Anne and today I'm doing the Stay at Home book tag. This book tag was first created by Princess of Paperback, but I saw it done by Beth from Books Nest and she said if you want to do the video, consider yourself tagged, so that's what I'm doing. I'll link both of their channels down below. And this is just a quick book tag based on things you do when you have to stay at home, like we are all doing right now. And I like doing book tags, so I figured this was perfect. The first question is Laying in Bed, a book that you have read or could have read in one day. And for that I chose Bloom by Kevin Panetta and Savannah Ganucheau. This is a graphic novel and I don't think I did read it in one day, but I'm sure I could have, because when I started reading this I just wanted to keep on reading. And this is also a very good book to read when you're in need of comfort, which I think a lot of people are these days. It's a graphic novel about two boys. I think they're just done with high school, or I'm not entirely sure, but it's set over the summer. And they meet and they fall in love with each other. And it's set partly in a bakery because one of the boys, the main character, is the son of a baker and his family owns a bakery and the other boy comes to work there. So it features beautiful baking montages. I'll see if I can quickly find something. And it's all drawn in beautiful bluish colors and it's just really beautiful. I felt completely at ease when I read this book. I just found one of the baking montages. It's a little bit different than the ones I meant, but here you can see entire pages full of baking. And if there's something that calms me down, it's baking. So if I were to reread this, which I'm seriously considering doing right now, I think I could do it in one day. The next question is Snacking, a book that is a guilty pleasure of yours. And first I want to say I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I don't think I really have guilty pleasures because I'm of the conviction that if you love something, you shouldn't feel guilty about it. Or feel ashamed about it, which is kind of what guilty pleasures are, and I don't like that. But I did come up with a book for this, and that is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling, John Tiffany and Jack Thorne. This book is not very popular in the bookish community. I think everyone, or at least a lot of people, have read it, but nobody seemed to really like it. And the thing is, when I first read it, the day it came out, I loved this. I'm not sure how I rated it, but it was at least 4 stars, I think. I felt like I was completely back in the Harry Potter universe when I read this, and I got a bit emotional, to truth be told, and I was entranced by the book. And then later on, I think it was months later, when I actually started reading reviews of other people, I noticed that so many people were so angry about this book and hated so many parts of it. And now I can kind of see why. I haven't reread it. I meant to do that, but I haven't. I can see why people don't like it and why it's not something that really fits within the Harry Potter universe, perhaps. But when I first read this, I really liked it. The third question is Netflix, a series that you want to start. And for me, the answer to this question was clear immediately. It's the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. I have this beautiful box set. I bought this, I don't remember when I bought this. I think it was last year at some point. And it came with a map actually. I'm not sure where that is. But anyway, I bought this. I think I bought this when I finished the Monsters of Verity duology, which is This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet. Those were the first 2 books by V.E. Schwab that I read and I really loved them. And I heard so many good things about the Shades of Magic series that I picked it up to read soon. But of course, we never really do read books soon, or at least I don't. So it's been sitting on my shelves for a while, but I really am planning on starting this series soon. Of course, soon is a relative concept, so who knows when it will actually be. Next up we've got Deep Clean, a book that's been on your TBR for ages, and for that I've got 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This has been on my TBR long before I even bought it. A friend of mine really loved this book and I remember her talking about it and telling me what it was about, and I was immediately interested in it and I figured I'd read it as well. And then a few years later I actually picked up a copy And we're again a few years later and I haven't read this yet. This book is actually on my list of 10 books I want to have read by the end of 2020, so I will get to it this year, that's a guarantee. If I put it on that list, I'll read it. But it's been on my TBR for a long time. This is actually a bit of a classic, I think. Perhaps a modern classic, I'm not sure how you would describe it. I can't really tell you that much of what it's about, actually. I don't really remember that much of it, of the synopsis. But I know I really want to read it, and I really hope that I'll love it. The next prompt made me laugh a bit because it's Animal Crossing, a book that you bought recently because of the hype. I actually don't play Animal Crossing, I don't own a Nintendo Switch. I wish I did, because if I did, I really think I'd love Animal Crossing, even though I'm still not entirely sure what the entire game is about. But I'm not going to buy a Switch for just one game, especially not if that game is like 70 euros, I'm not sure. It costs a lot of money and I'm still addicted to The Sims 2 and The Sims 4, so I've got enough on my plate. But back to the book. A book that I recently bought for the hype is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I'm not entirely sure if you could call this a hype. I've seen it around a couple of times. I think I saw it around a few times within 1 week, and then I figured, well, that sounds interesting, I should buy it. I'm not sure if this is hyped, but I bought it because I saw it online a few times and it looked pretty and interesting, so I picked it up. It's about a coffee shop that lets you travel back in time, I think, or to the future. Time traveling. So that can be both ways. And it sounds really interesting, and I really hope I can pick it up soon. The next prompt is Productivity, a book that you learned from or that had an impact on you. And for that I chose The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I read this book in 2017, I think, and it had a really big impact on me. For those of you who don't know, I think that most people will know what this is about because it is a very popular book. This is about a girl called Star, and she, at the start of the book, sees her best friend get shot by a police officer before her eyes. The book deals with the aftermath of that and the structural problems in American society, but also probably societies all over the world, with racism and how police and other institutions deal with that and are riddled with that. So those are some very big themes, but it also really is a book about family and friendship and growing up, and it is all of those things together in one book. And it's also very well written and funny at times, so it's a really good book, and it had a big impact on me because I learned a lot about the Black experience, I guess. I'm not sure if that's how I should call it, but it really taught me a lot about this situation, about what it's like being Black in America. I can't say that I now know what it's like, but this book does a really good job of explaining it to people. So I definitely really recommend reading this as well if you haven't yet, because not only is it a very important book, it's also just a very good book. The next prompt is Facetime, a book that you were gifted, and for that I chose She is Fierce by Anna Sampson. I got this from my boyfriend. I'm not sure when it was, I think it was around Christmas, but I can't really remember too clearly, but he gave this to me. This is a book of brave, bold and beautiful poems by women. So it's a really nice gift to give to someone, I think. I haven't read it yet, I haven't started reading it yet, but I'm excited to read some poems by women. I don't usually read a lot of poetry. I've kind of stopped reading poetry after finishing my degree in English literature, but I do enjoy the occasional poem now and then. So it'll be fun to get back into that, I think. The next prompt is self-care. What is one thing that you did recently to take care of yourself? And the first thing I came up with is baking. I love baking. I think those of you who know my blog or my Instagram will know about that, because I'm called Books, Baking and Blogging on there. My blog is about books and baking because those are the two things I love most. And baking has a therapeutic effect on me, and a few days ago I finally got to bake again, and it really helped me relax and calm down and made me remember why I love baking so much. So that was really nice, and I'm definitely going to be doing more baking. And then there is a bonus prompt, which is name a book that's coming out soon. I don't own any books that are coming out soon, but there is one book I'm really looking forward to, and that is This Coven Won't Break by Isabel Sterling. It's the second book in this series. I'm not sure what the series is called, but the first book is called These Witches Don't Burn, which I've got here. I read this for the Owls Readathon, and it ended up being a really good surprise. I really loved this. I figured I'd like it, but I didn't think that I would really love it as much as I did. So now I'm really excited to read the second book and see what happens next. I actually pre-ordered it, so it should arrive sometime in June, because the next book comes out in June. And that is it for this reading tag. If you like this video and you want to do the tag yourself as well, consider yourself tagged by me. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below telling me one book that you have read during this stay-at-home period that you really enjoyed. And please subscribe to my channel. I hope you're taking care of yourself, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!